Now check.
हाँ सर हो गई है.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
So there was some disturbance coming from either of your ends, so that's why I muted all. But now I've unmuted everyone. Clear?
Good
Now,
evening.
good evening. Good evening. Now, so today we're going to start a very important topic that is called a topic of Islam. Yes, the coming of Islam in India. Now, there are two ways of teaching Islam. Yes, first is just to come back to the invasion of the Sindh and talk about what the coming of the Delhi Sultanate and coming of the Mughals, all those type of things. But that is a very text basis. Yes, very text specific. Now, first of all, to understand about the coming of Islam in India, we should be first of all understanding the origin of Islam in the Arab world first. Now, origin of Islam in the Arab world, and even what was the culture before the coming of the Islam even in the Arabia, that is pre-Islamic world. So I will be tracing directly from what the coming of what the pre-Islamic age, then the Islamic world in Arabia, then we'll talking about what was the intention when they came to India. So then you will be able to connect with every possible thing. So what the people who are talked as the Islamic conquerors or the Islamic invaders when they came to India, were they doing things differently completely for India, or they were doing the same thing across even in their own region? So then we will be able to understand that there's no need of discrimination. That's the approach was same in the Arab world also, approach was same in the India also. So let us understand this now in broad broad dimension. Okay, so we are going to talk about the region which is called Middle East. Now, when we talk about Middle East, this is a huge area. The Middle East is a huge area. So where the Islam actually originated, it originated in Arabia, the country that we talk today, Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudi Arabia, so that means somewhere, this is Makkah and Medina. Now, before talking about the coming of Islam or the origin of Islam in the Arabia or the Saudi Arabia, let us understand what was its linkages with what Christianity, linkages with what Jews or the Hebrew people. Now, when we talk about these three religions, the Jews, the Christians, and these people following the Muslim world, they have got a connection. They've got a connection in a common forefather, a common ancestor. That common ancestor is known as Abraham. So these three religions are termed as Abrahamic religion. Now, Abraham was the first prophet of God, first prophet of God, and that person originated in a place called today's Israel. So today's Israel, we are talking about Israel is here. That is the area of Palestine from where the Israel has been carved. So the origin of the Islam, first of all, let us to be, it should be connected with the Abrahamic religion. Abraham was the first prophet of the God, which was the common forefather for all the three, the Jews, the Christians, and the Islam. So let us connect with that. So now, so we are going to talk about, so focus on the area. Islam actually originated in Saudi Arabia, but it had got connections, first of all, with this area, today's Israel, or the area of Palestine. Now, so hence we are going to start, first of all, with what? Abrahamic religions. So what is the meaning of Abrahamic religion? So there was a prophet, the first prophet of the God. That means first preacher of the God. That person's name was Abraham. And he was around 2000 BCE, means second millennium BCE. Second millennium means 2000 BCE. That means 2000 BCE, which civilization was there in India? Indus Valley civilization. So that means that person was in the time period of IVC, Indus Valley civilization in India. So 2000 BCE. So Abraham is considered the first prophet of the Hebrew people. Hebrew, that is the Jewish people or the Hebrew Bible. Now, even when we talk about the holy book of the Jews, it's termed as Hebrew Bible. When we talk about a Christian Bible, the difference is the Christian Bible also contains the Hebrew Bible. Because the Christians came later. Yes, Christians came later. So the Christian Bible contains the Hebrew Bible. So this prophet, who was the first prophet of the God, according to Hebrew Bible, was the first monotheist. Monotheist means believer in one God. Believer in one God. Monotheist. Believer in one God. That's why when we talk about Jews, they are believer in one God. Christians, they are believer in one God. When we talk about Muslims, they are believer in one God. That means, so monotheism originated from the concept of Abraham, the prophet. So Abraham is a common Hebrew patriarch of the Abrahamic religion. So that includes Judaism, that includes Christians and Islam. So common Hebrew. So Hebrew was the set of people from which Jews originated. So Hebrew were the group of people which claim that their original land is Palestine or the area of Israel. Area of Israel. So they're the group of people immersed Hebrew, which later gave to Jews. So the Hebrews originated in a place called Canaan, which is now Israel. Today's Israel. Now, so he is celebrated. So Abraham is celebrated for his unwavering faith in God and the role in establishing the monotheistic traditions. Okay, that is believing in one God. So he has been the major force behind the monotheism in the world. Now, how this Abraham is being celebrated across the three religions? So what is the connection that these religions carry with Abraham? Let us see first of all how Jews consider him. Is how the Jews see him. So Judaism. In Judaism, he is the founding father of the special relationship between God and the Jewish people. That means between the God and the Jewish people, he has been the first the first connection. Between the common Jewish people and the God, Abraham is the first connection. So it's been seen as the first connection between God and the common people. So Abraham has got a wife by the name Sarah, who gave birth to Isaac. And Isaac became the father of Jacob. That is, Jacob is Israel. The name Israel emerged. So Abraham's wife, Sarah, gave birth to Isaac. And Isaac was the father of Jacob. Jacob is the name Israel, from which the name Israel emerged. And this Jacob was now the head of kinship. We have used a term called kinship. Okay, kinship means extended family. So kinship extended family. So it means Jacob was the head of the kinship of the extended family of Jews. Okay, so father of Jacob, Israel, was the progenitor of the 12 tribes of Israel. 12 tribes of Israel, that is the Jewish people. The Jewish people. So first of all, Abraham is seen as the first connection between the God and the common people, the Jews. Now Abraham to his wife, Sarah, gave birth to what? Isaac. And Isaac was the father of Jacob. And Jacob, the term Israel emerged. That means he became the top or the head of the extended family of Jews comprising of 12 Israeli tribes. That is Jacob. Now, whenever you see an Israeli flag, you find a star on the flag. That star is termed as Star of David. Now, who was that David? So, David was the first king of the area called Israel. So, first of all, what is the name of the God of Jews? So, that's the name Yahweh. So, that means the name they have given to the God of Jews is Yahweh. First prophet is Abraham. And the first head of the extended family, Jacob or Israel. And the first king of Israel was David. Around what? 1000 BCE. 1000 BCE. That means the time period coinciding with what? The early Vedic age. The time period coinciding with early Vedic age. 1000 BCE. So he established Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. I hope this first part is very clear. So first of all, these three religions are connected with a common ancestor, that is Abraham. And that Abraham has been seen differently by all these three religions. So first of all, this is a way of seeing Abraham by the people called Jews. Now further, let's talk about Christians now. So in Christianity, he is the spiritual guru of all believers, whether Jews or non-Jews. Whether Jews. So Christians ultimately also consider him that he is the preacher or the first guru of all the people, whether you are Jewish or non-Jewish. Now, hence, when you talk about Jesus Christ or Jesus, is again a descendant of Abraham. Is again a descendant of Abraham through Isaac and Jacob. That means he is also part of what? A successive, okay, successive what? Maybe generation. So Jesus Christ is being seen as a successive generation, one of the successive generation emerging from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So And why Jesus has ultimately taken birth? Again, for the fulfillment of God's promise to the people, yes, for providing betterment to them. So Jesus is being regarded by Christians as the Son of the God. The Son of the God. So now, so how the Jesus is connected to Abraham? Because according to Christians, he also belongs to the successive generation linked with Abraham. And he is being seen as a new form of prophet and a preacher, yes, again as a God's promise for safeguarding the people. Same like avatar that we follow in what Indian system, Krishna is taken avatar or the Rama is taken avatar, okay, the avatar. And hence Jesus is considered the Son of God. Yes, Parth.
So the first line he here refers to Jacob.
Just a minute.
In Christianity.
Yes, no, Abraham.
Okay.
So Abraham has been referred as the spiritual guru of all the believers, whether Jewish or non-Jewish. Now, when you're talking about Jewish, so Jews definitely see him as the first guru. But when you talk about Christians, Christian also see him as the first guru, whether you are Jewish or not.
And sir, how is Zoroastrianism related to Judaism? Are they related or are they
They
not?
are not related. Zoroastrianism is a different thing, yes, altogether. It will also be coming in our discussion. It will also be coming.
Okay.
But when you talk about the Abrahamic religions, so there are three: Jewish, Christians, and Islam.
And not Zoroastrianism.
Not Zoroastrianism. So these three ultimately see Abraham as a common ancestor.
Got it, sir.
Okay. So Jesus is the descendant of Abraham through Isaac and Jacob. And Jesus can be seen as one of the avatars, that is a son of the God, again had taken birth for the betterment of the people. This is according to the Christians now. Now let us see how Abraham is being seen by Islam. So you must have heard a story about the first person to take birth was Adam and Eve. So now, so in Islam, is the link in the chain of Islamic prophets that see the Adam the first and culminates in Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad. That means according to Islam, the first prophet was Adam, and in that series of prophets was also Abraham. And the last prophet was Prophet Muhammad, according to Islam. So in Islam, Abraham is a link in the chain of Islamic prophets that begins with Adam and culminates, means ends with Prophet Muhammad. So Abraham in Islam is also spelled as Ibrahim. Abraham, also spelled as Ibrahim, is recognized for restoring the worship of true God, that is Allah, and rejecting idolatry. Because when we are talking about in the pre-Islamic world, even in Arabia, there's a worshipping of various deities. Why? Because they were tribes, and we know tribes always have got their animistic beliefs and gods. So as they are tracing themselves from the monotheism of Abraham, okay, believing in one God, that means Islam will be coming into picture by promoting monotheism. So Ibrahim is recognized for restoring the worship of one true God by sidelining the polytheism and rejecting the idolatry. Hence, Ibrahim and his son Ismail built the Kaaba in Makkah as a house for the monotheistic worship. Symbol of Allah. Monotheistic worship. Okay, so that means when we are talking about the coming of the Islam, first of all, understand how the Islam originated. So first of all, the common connection with the Abraham and the three major differentiation: Judaism, Jewish, Christians, and the Islam. Now, so what is the religion? What is religion before Islam in Arabia now? Now, how the Arabia was now in this time period before the coming of Islam. So before the start of Islam in 7th century AD, the Arabian Peninsula was home to diverse range of religion, beliefs, and practices. It's almost like what ancient Indian period, various religions and sects. It's almost like ancient Indian subcontinent various religions. We have seen Brahmanism, Buddhism, Jainism. Okay, Ajivikas were there. And then when the coming of the other, when expansion of the kingdoms in the different parts of the country, numerous subsects emerged. There were also tribes in our country also which were believing in what animism and tribal worships or the tribal gods. The same type of atmosphere also prevalent in Arabia. So before the advent of Islam, the Arabian Peninsula was home to diverse range of religious beliefs and practices. So these included polytheism, means believing in many gods. Christianity was also there. Judaism, Zoroastrianism. So now Zoroastrian is also coming. And various forms of animism and tribal spiritual beliefs were there. So that means, so there was, so that means the population was divided into what? Different belief systems. Okay, I hope when we see this, this is almost comparable to Indian subcontinent. Different religions, tribal beliefs, and everything. Polytheism. Now, so hence, so what was there in Arabia? So there was believer of Judaism in Arabia. So Jewish tribes used to live in Medina, a place which was earlier known as Yathrib, Medina in what? Arabia. So Jewish tribes used to live, and they were a believer of what? Again, the Jewish worship. So Jews had what notable cultural and economic influence, particularly through trade and agriculture. So the Jews were also living in Arabia. Similarly, Christians were also living in Arabia. Now, the Christianity was reaching Arabia with the promotion by the Byzantine Empire. So Byzantine Empire is the Eastern Roman Empire. So please correct the spelling, Roman Empire. Eastern Roman Empire. So Eastern Roman Empire, Byzantine means covering the areas of Italy or the Greece, then Turkey, then Syria. So entering into Middle East. And hence when it is entering into Middle East, it becomes, it reaches the border of Arabia. Okay, so Byzantine Empire comprises of Italy. Okay, when we talk about Turkey, when we are moving towards the Middle East, Syria, Greece. So Italy, Greece, Turkey, Syria. So Byzantine Empire comprising of this. So Syria means touching now Middle East, entering Middle East, means touching the Arabian world now. So that means there was influence of Christianity in the Arabia also. So this Byzantine Empire started from 330 AD onwards. And Islam came in what? 7th century. That means Byzantine Empire was at least 300 years before coming of the Islam. 300 years before the coming of the Islam. So that means, so Christianity was making an impact in the Arabian world. So Christianity had penetrated through trade and influence of the neighboring Byzantine Empire. And there were certain key areas where the Christians were living. A place like Najran in southern Arabia, this was a significant center of Christianity.
Exactly which place, sir?
Najran in southern Arabia, so southern Arabia can be a Rab-e Khali desert. Yes, so there are various locations there. Rab-e Khali desert.
सर ये सारी बातें इब्राहिम से स्टार्ट हुई है ना ये इस्लामिक वाली
हाँ, ये सारी बातें वहीं से स्टार्ट हो रही हैं, इसलिए मैंने इब्राहिम से पहले कनेक्ट किया.
इससे पहले इस्लाम था ही
नहीं था, है ना.
Okay.
So from the Abraham first emerged the Jews, from the Abraham then came the Christians, and finally came the Islam. Okay, so this is a sequence. Yes. So when we are seeing this in the Arabia also, who is dominant first? Jews are dominant, Christians are dominant, still the Islam is nowhere.
Sir, by Arabia we mean Saudi Arabia only, or do we mean West Asia?
So Arabia, I'm saying why? Because the origination, the place of origin of Islam is Saudi Arabia, today's Saudi Arabia. But when we talk about Arabia, we talk about the entire Arabian Peninsula. That includes the country like Oman also, or the Yemen also. Okay, so we are not going to talk about that. We are talking about the Arabian Peninsula, which comprises various countries.
So this southern Arabia means Saudi Arabia in this case.
So in this in Saudi Arabia.
Okay, so wherever Arabia is written, in a way we will understand it to be Saudi Arabia in this.
So today is Saudi Arabia, which is the basic, with the major place for the origin of Islam.
Got it, sir.
तो सर वन मोर थिंग लाइक ये सिर्फ सऊदी अरेबिया की बात हो रही है या फिर ऑल ओवर वर्ल्ड की बात हो रही है कि इस्लामिक यहीं से इमर्ज हुआ है?
नहीं, कोई ना कोई ओरिजिनल पॉइंट होगा, जैसे बुद्धिज्म कहाँ से स्टार्ट हुआ था? कपिला वास्तु से स्टार्ट हुआ था, तो हम वहीं की बात तो करेंगे ना।
यस सर।
ठीक है, वो तो बाद में कहाँ कहाँ चाइना तो पहुंच गया, वो तो बाद में आएगा ना।
ओके ओके।
ओके। So that means we are talking about the pre-Islamic Arabia. That means there were different religions which were dominant before Islam, that is Jews, Christians. Now, why I am talking about these? Because see, we have to find a sequence. Now, if we are going to talk about just emergence of Islam in Arabia, and then we talk about the Jews were living there, Christians were living there, then you are questioning why they were living there. So they were living there because all these three was first connected with a place called Israel, where the Abraham was there. So Abraham gave rise to what? These three religions finally. Okay. Now, before the coming of Islam, already the Jews were living in Arabia, the Christians were living in Arabia because they came first, earlier than Islam.
But sir, we are saying that in Islam, that Adam was the first prophet. So even before the Muhammad prophet, Abraham, even before Abraham. So why is this so that Islam is considered originating from the 7th century onwards?
Why? Because when you compare that with Jains, okay, so when Jains can only able to recognize historically with Parshavnath or maybe the Mahavira, but they say there are 24 Tirthankars, which are not historically traceable. So many of the texts are created later. So then they are able to trying to connect with what the previous forefathers who can give them more importance to their religion.
Okay. Got it, sir.
Okay. Okay, so there have been habit among all the religions to claim, yes, more and more ancestors as possible, or many of these ancestors can also be mythical in nature. Okay, so now similarly, Ghassanid Arabs, yes, these were also a particular section of Arabs who were also Christians, yes, and they were also aligned with the Byzantine Empire. So what we are finding is in the Arabia, before the coming of the Islam, Jews were living. With the coming of Islam, Christians were living. And also who were also living? The people who are following Zoroastrianism. Now, let us see how this entered Arabia. Zoroastrianism entered Arabia through Sassanid Persian influence. So there was a Sassanid Persian Empire. Persians we have done. Okay, we have done the Cyrus one, Darius one, Xerxes. So we have done all those Persians. Okay, in the Persia, one of the first monotheistic religion that ultimately emerged was Zoroastrianism. So Zoroastrianism emerged under the Persian controlled area, that is around Iran. Around Iran. So Zoroastrians was there. So Zoroastrians, when we are going to what sequentially or chronologically arrange the religions, we'll find that first in the chronology, Zoroastrians were first, then came the Jews, then came the Christians, okay, and then came the Islam. So Islam is at the last. So Zoroastrians, Jews, Christians, then Islam. But Zoroastrians is not linked with these three. Clear? So this Zoroastrianism had taken shape or has evolved in the Persian area, Persian control, which was broadly promoted by Sassanid dynasty of Persia. So it became popular in what Eastern Arabia, that is today's Bahrain and parts of Oman. Today's Bahrain and parts of Oman. So hence Zoroastrianism is an ancient monasteristic religion, monotheistic religion. It is as old as what? 3,500 years old. And they believe in a god by the name Ahura Mazda, that is the wise lord, is the one god who created the world. So that means their god, their monotheistic god is termed as Ahura Mazda. And they have got their fire temples. So they worship in fire temples. So hence a sect of that is Mazda, a related sect of Zoroastrianism, may have influenced some of the Arabian communities. So that means there were multiple influences. So it was again an area like what Indian subcontinent, various religions and sects were prevailing there. Now, besides these three, there were also what individual tribal gods and goddesses also there. So that is termed as polytheism, multiple gods. And it was a dominant belief system because there were various Arab tribes who had their own gods and goddesses. It was a dominant belief system, even dominant than the Christians follower, the Jew followers, and the Zoroastrian followers. So that means the most dominant were the polytheistic, believing in many gods. Now, worship of deities, most pre-Islamic Arabs were polytheistic, worshipping a multitude of gods and goddesses associated with natural phenomena, celestial bodies, and tribal protection. The same type of things that originated in Rig Vedic Aryan system also. Okay, so believing in what natural wonders of the world, okay, as they are protectors or the guardians, whatever. So they are praised, they are treated like gods and goddesses. If they are the providing benefits to the communities, they are seen as God or the giver. Okay. So now the which natural phenomena, celestial bodies, and tribal protection. Now, so when we talk about a place called Kaaba in what? Saudi Arabia, okay, that is in Makkah, the main masjid where the Hajj takes place. Okay, so Kaaba before the coming of Islam was a place where there was various polytheism was being followed with various idols in place. So Kaaba as a religious center before Islam. So Kaaba was a major religious site housing idols and objects of worship representing various deities of the Arabian tribes. It was a religious and cultural center for pilgrimages and fairs in the pre-Islamic form. Now, hence it is termed as paganism. Paganism is no structured religion but believing in many gods. So paganism is no structured religion but believing in many gods. Pagan tradition.
Before Islam, here means that before that center was made by Prophet and his son.
So Islam actually started with the final removal of the polytheistic practices and adoption of monotheism by Prophet Muhammad.
Kaaba was also a religious center before.
When the Prophet Muhammad came back from his exile to Medina, back to Makkah, so that means at the place of Kaaba, he removed all the idols and made it a place for what? The monotheistic religion, that is the beginning of Islam.
Kaaba was always a pious place of worship.
Kaaba was always a pious place. Before the Islam, they were the various what idols were being found. They were places of worship for local tribes.
Okay.
तो सर वी कैन से दैट ये जो अफवाह कह लो या कुछ भी कि वहां पर मक्केश्वर महाराज है ये शिव जी से रिलेटेड
वो तो व्हाट्सएप वाले फैलाते हैं
तो सर ऐसा कुछ है नहीं मतलब
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है ओके सो सी ट्राइब्स अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड across the world whether we are talking about the tribes of what South America, the tribes of Amazon, okay, the tribes of what Peru, like what we talk about Incas, okay, every tribe had got their own gods and goddesses beliefs. Okay, when you talk about tribal Arabia, so tribal Arabia were also having their gods and goddesses. The Greeks, they were also having their gods and goddesses. Okay,
yes sir.
So but we cannot claim कि Greek god भी हमारे थे, हम तो claim नहीं करते ना because उससे हमारा divide and rule politics नहीं चलता है.
Yes sir.
Okay. Okay, so many idols were kept inside and around Kaaba, representing various gods of the Arabian tribes. The most popular was Hubal, goddesses like Al-Lat, Al-Uzza. There's no need of remembering them, but you should be remembering that this was a place for what polytheistic worship. Initially polytheistic worship, and there were various individual gods and goddesses which were very popular among the local Arabian tribes. Now let us talk about the birth of Islam. So what changes Islam brought in this type of mix? We are seeing Arabia is a place of mix. Various standardized religions were there and various polytheistic religions or gods and goddesses were there. Now, birth of Islam. So the religion Islam was born at Makkah in Arabia. Time period is 7th century AD. So the birth of Islam occurred in 7th century AD in Makkah when Prophet Muhammad received his first revelation, that is directly a message from the God, as per the story, God by an angel by the name Gabriel. Yes, so there was an angel, Apsara, that ultimately transferred the God's words to Prophet Muhammad. Okay, so this type of stories, when we talk about Rig Veda also, Rig Veda was a revealed book. Okay, from the gods. That's why we discussed about two things, Shruti literature and Smriti literature.
Sir.
Okay, so Shruti was considered as revealed by the gods. Okay, so similarly, a similar type of thing. So Prophet Muhammad, yes, as per the story, the God's knowledge or God's what message was revealed to Prophet Muhammad to promote monotheism. So Prophet Muhammad was born around 570 AD in Makkah. And hence, with the coming of the Prophet Muhammad's teaching, the pre-Islamic Arabia, which was believing in multiple religions and many gods, was seen as the age of ignorance. Was seen as an age of ignorance. Very clear? Was seen as an age of ignorance. So pre-Islamic.
Sir, that angel Gabriel, is this the same angel Gabriel from Christianity, like
Yes,
in the
yes,
Bible?
the same. Okay, because they are tracing themselves from the same type of the common ancestor. So many of the things can be similar.
So, and paganism is not one religion, right, sir? It's
Paganism is not one religion. Yes, that means
pagan.
your individual choice, that God that you want to adopt, you can adopt.
Okay, the only difference between paganic religions and Abrahamic religion is the number of.
Monotheism and polytheism. Okay.
Okay,
Paganism can be providing options for polytheism.
okay, and paganism is group of religions.
So it can be. Yes, it can be.
Okay, good.
Now, when we talk about the pre-Islamic Arabia, consider the age of ignorance with the coming of the Prophet Muhammad when he started to preach again monotheism. Now, so who are the initial followers of Prophet Muhammad? The initial followers were his close family and friends. So family members and friends. So for example, when we talk about Buddha has achieved enlightenment, he started to preach. Okay, and there were first 5 disciples of Buddha. Similarly, when according to the Islam, when Prophet Muhammad received enlightenment, he started to preach. First of all, to whom? His family members and his friends. So always try to connect. Yes. So early converts. So early converts of Islam include his wife Khadija, his cousin Ali Talib, and his friend Abu Bakr. So that means his first converts to Islam was his wife, his cousin, and his very close friend Abu Bakr, and his adopted son Zayed. So these were the first 4 converts to Islam: his wife, his cousin, his friend, and his adopted son. Now, what is the core teaching now? So he started to teach now monotheism. Core teaching is worship only one God, Allah. Now, reject idolatry and pagan practices. That is creating multiple religions by worshipping anything that you want, that you desire. That should be avoided now. Completely stopped. And promote justice, equality, compassion for the poor and marginalized. Believing in one God, avoiding multiple gods and the paganism belief and the idolatry, and promoting sense of equality and justice. Now, this can also, when we see this differently, this can also be a way of what? Now, for example, if a set of communities are living, and when they are believing in different gods, it can lead to differentiation in beliefs. It can lead to sectarianism. It can lead to disunity. Now, to deal with disunity, sectarianism, and to diversity in views, how to create unity? The creation of unity will be requiring focus on just one God. Focus on one God. So that means this can also be a way of uniting different viewpoints and different religious practices into one. Okay. So now rejecting. So note down a line. You can add on a line. Yes, you can add. So that can be the perspective. For example, communities believing in multiple gods and goddesses. And even different religions. Can lead to differences in opinion, belief systems, sectarianism, with the potential of more conflicts. The potential of more conflicts. Hence, promoting focus on monotheism and completely sidelining idol worship can be a way of uniting different opinions. Can be a way of uniting different opinions with focus on one God. With focus on one God. And with standard guidebook. And with a standard guidebook. The standard guidebook. Very clear, this paragraph? So now, one God, rejection of idolatry and pagan practices. Now, but his teachings made the wealthy people of Makkah his enemies. That means the Quraysh tribe. Now, Quraysh tribes who were promoting polytheism before or idolatry before, they were earning from what various pilgrimages and fairs, and they were earning economically from what? Promotion of multiple polytheistic beliefs. Quraysh tribes. So hence, when Prophet Muhammad started to preach monotheism, that means the people who were earning from the previous setup were now feeling threatened. Hence, they started to oppose Prophet Muhammad. So, but his teachings made the wealthy people of Makkah his enemies. For example, the Quraysh leaders opposed Muhammad's teachings, fearing that they would disrupt Makkah's religious and economic status, which were initially linked with what? Polytheism. Initially linked with polytheism. For example, let's see the previous slide. Now, let's see this. The Kaaba as a religious center before Islam. It was a religious and cultural center for pilgrimages and fairs in pre-Islamic form. The Quraysh tribe who controlled Makkah managed Kaaba and profited economically from it. Very clear. Now, when Prophet Muhammad started to preach monotheism, now the wealthy people belonging to the Quraysh tribe were started to oppose the teachings. Hence, there was a persecution of Prophet Muhammad, and he fled or he left, yes, Makkah and went to Medina. So therefore, he migrated to Medina, that is 622 AD. And this was the start of what? Calculating the event of the Muslim calendar. Yes. That is, this is the starting point of the Muslim calendar. That is called Hijrah. Yes, that is start of what? Hijrah. That is the Muslim calendar. So 1622 is the start of the age of Islam. 622 is the start of the age of Islam. 622, where the Muslim calendar began. And this is linked with the migration of Prophet Muhammad from Makkah to Medina. Now in Medina, what happened? Now Prophet Muhammad established the first Islamic state. He formed a political division, first Islamic state, based on the principles of unity, social justice, and adherence to divine law. Now, after 8 years in Medina, he came back to Makkah with his followers, died in 632 AD. But when he came to Makkah in 630, that is before his death, he ultimately replaced Kaaba ideals with what? A belief system which is monotheistic in religion. So now the Kaaba in Islam. So when he came back to Makkah in 630 AD, now he reclaimed Kaaba for monotheism from polytheism. So after Prophet Muhammad's return to Makkah in 630, he entered Kaaba, removed its idols, and dedicated it to the worship of Allah alone. That is monotheism. So this is the picture of Kaaba. Now the event symbolizes the triumph of monotheism over idolatry in Arabia. Now Kaaba symbolizes the unity of Muslims worldwide, because when the Muslims pray, they pray in the direction of Kaaba. So this shows the universal brotherhood among the Muslims. So the Kaaba symbolizes the unity of Muslims worldwide as they turn to it during prayer, regardless of their geographic location. And it is also a reminder that you have to follow monotheism. It's also a reminder. So it also serves as a reminder of monotheism. It also served as a reminder of monotheism. Now, this is the holiest place of Islam, now where the annual Hajj is there. So there are two types of visits that Muslims can undertake. One is annual Hajj, and second is Umrah. Umrah means any Muslim can visit anytime. So Kaaba is the central site for Hajj, the annual Islamic pilgrimage, and Umrah is a non-obligatory pilgrimage that can be performed anytime. That can be performed anytime.
Sir, and Hajj is to be gone in particular time period.
Hajj is a particular calendar and particular time period. Now, hence, the pilgrims would take a round, circumambulate. So, Pradikshina Path, again, so I hope you can remember with the Hindu temples, Pradikshina Path, taking a circle. And this ritual is called Tawaf. Yes, Sai.
So the obligation to visit irrespective of economic position of the person or the follower?
So, that's why it is called non-obligatory. Na? Umrah is
No,
non.
so the first one, the obligation one.
No, it depends. Yes, depends. It depends. Okay. It depends. So, but what is there that a person who is following Islam at least should be visiting Hajj once in his lifetime. That is the thing that they promote.
Correct, sir.
So, for example, when you talk about Hinduism, okay, the Hindu should be visiting at least Char Dham once in a lifetime. It's the same thing. Now, so what are now the main aspects which emerged out with the coming of Islam? So main aspects related to Islam, the things which began to emerge after the coming of Islam now. So Islam believed that God sent a number of prophets to mankind to teach them how to live accordingly. So some of these prophets were Jesus, the Moses belonging to Jews, and Muhammad are respected as prophets of gods. Muslims believe that the final prophet was Prophet Muhammad. Now, for example, when we talk about Sikh gurus. Now, Sikh gurus, so there were 10 gurus that will be doing in the medieval period again. Now, after a 10th guru, there will not be any guru. Okay, so Guru Gobind Singh was the last. And after that, the guru teachings will be seen through what? Guru Granth Sahib, the book. The same here. The same here. So now when I talk about the final prophet was Prophet Muhammad. So the emergence of Islam is dated from the time of the migration of Muhammad. It is believed that the word of God was revealed to Muhammad. This is the same line to angel Gabriel. Now, so now the codification of the law books or the guidebooks. What for Hindus they are Dharma Shastra. So similarly here, Muslims base their laws on 3 holy books. One is called Quran, Hadith, and Sunnah. 3. Quran, Hadith, and Sunnah. Now, Quran is directly the message from the God. It's the ultimate divine revelation. It's directly the message from the God. It's the words and the words of the God directly into Quran. Hadith are basically contains the words of the Muhammad. That is the interpretation of the religion of Islam by Muhammad. That is Hadith. Hadith. Now, for the Sunnah is basically the practices, okay, the actions that are being taught by Prophet Muhammad, and also some of the pre-Islamic practices which were approved by Prophet Muhammad for continuation are covered in Sunnah. Contains the words and actions, that is what the Muslim should be doing, and some of the actions adopted from a pre-Islamic world which was approved have been compiled in Sunnah. So Quran, Hadith, and Sunnah. Very clear?
Just one doubt, sir. The Sunnah also contains the words of the Muhammad.
So when we talk about words of Muhammad, when we talk about the Hadith, is basically the interpretation of the Quran.
Okay.
So here we are talking about actions also. What the Muslim should be doing as the practices, and also approving the pre-Islamic practices also. So that means it is mostly based on actions. So Sunnah is based on actions more.
And sir, that 622 is the start of the Islam.
Start of the Islamic calendar, Islamic era, or
And
basically the official start of Islam.
yes, and when the Muhammad returned back to the Mecca, then there was no I mean opposition from the Quraysh tribes. Then
So that means by that time, the Muhammad has already established a Islamic state in Medina, and he had started compiling followers, and those followers began in what they were now in large numbers, who overpowered, yes, who overpowered the Quraysh people.
okay, sir.
Okay.
Got it.
Now, so some of the basic tenets of Islam are belief in one God. Now, belief in Muhammad as a final prophet, and they also believe in a certain degree of karma system. Karma, that is, believe that life on earth is a period of testing and preparation for the life after death, for the judgment day, when you will be what? Praised or punished accordingly to your actions. Praised or punished. So it's basically again a theory of karma emerging into picture. So karma. So when everyone shall be recompensed by the God according to the actions performed. The judgment day. Now the Muslims have to follow 5 major things. They have 5 duties. 5 duties a devout Muslim should be following. Okay. Now, a devout Muslim, for example, 5 prayers in a day. But it may not be possible for all the Muslims, but at least who can do 5 prayers in a day. Now, a weekly Juma, that is a Friday prayer, a weekly prayer Friday, which can be in gathering, collective, which is again was a symbol of what? Again, brotherhood, okay? Togetherness. Now, next is fast during Ramzan, dawn to dusk. Then at least one pilgrimage to in Hajj once in a lifetime, and also charity, from payment of zakat, that is charity to the poor and needy. So these are 5 basic principles a true devout Muslim should be doing. 5. Now, so the combination of various religions, beliefs, and when you talk about polytheism was avoided to create Islam, the purpose was creating unity. But still, what we have seen after death of what Prophet Muhammad, sectarianism started even within Islam, with the coming of 2 major sects, Sunni and Shia. Now let us understand how these emerged. Now, Sunni and Shia emerged after death of Prophet Muhammad. What was the dispute within them? There were 2 set of groups, and they were disputing who will be the next leader after Prophet Muhammad. Okay, so certain set of people were talking about something else, certain set of people talking about something else. That means their interpretation of the next leader led to the dispute, which gave rise to Sunni and Shias. So let us see in what form. So there are 2 main sects in Islam, Sunni and Shia. Both sects consider Quran as their holy book, but differences exist that happened on the basis of their experiences, political and social developments in their regions. That means interpretation, which can be different. But the primary difference between Sunni and Shia Islam lies in the beliefs about leadership and the authority in the Muslim community after death of Prophet Muhammad, who will be the next leader. The Sunnis stated that this should be based on consensus. Next leader should be decided. Shia stated that the leader should be from the family of Prophet Muhammad. The major difference. Okay, let's see the dispute over leadership. The dispute over leadership. So after Muhammad's death in what 632 AD, Muslims disagreed on who should succeed him as a leader. So what was the Sunni view? So Sunni view was leadership should be determined by consensus among the Muslim community. Hence they supported Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr, who was a close friend. So Abu Bakr was a close friend of Prophet Muhammad as their leader. Very clear. Now, but Shia stated that leadership should remain within the Prophet's family. So they believe that Ali ibn, that is the Hazrat Ali, who was the cousin and the son-in-law of Prophet Muhammad, was the rightful successor. So that means the dispute or a factionalism started who should be the next leader. So Sunnis were talking about it can be anyone outside the family also. Shia stated it should be starting with the family. I should remain in the family. Yes, Akash, you would.
Sunnis were more democratic in this sense.
From this perspective, it looks like Sunnis were more democratic because they were believing in at least a consensus. That means deciding a leader.
Yes, sir.
Now, so the other differences. So first of all, there were differences in leadership. So here the caliphs means the leader. Caliphs here is a term for a leader. So according to the Sunnis, the caliphs, the leaders should be chosen by consensus or whatever the election, rudimentary election. But Shias stated that imamate, that means the next imam or the leader must come from Muhammad's family. So they were starting with Ali, Hazrat Ali. Now who will be the imams? According to Sunnis, imams are the people who are concerned with the prayers, and they can be the scholars. They can be given the title of imams. The Islamic scholars and the Islamic preachers, they can be given the title of imams. And according to Shias, imams are infallible, that they can do nothing wrong, and they are appointed by the God. They are the spiritual and political leaders. Okay, that means they are tracing.
The same as Iran leader.
Iran, that is ayatollahs. Okay, ayatollahs. So that is a supreme leader. Now, scriptures. So scripts means Sunnis emphasize collective consensus and scholars' interpretation of Islam. That means Quran and the working of Islam can be interpreted. But here, when you talk about Shias, whatever the guidance given by the imams, okay, that should be followed. So there is no requirement about other scholars' interpretation. If the imam is saying this is the meaning, that should be followed. Now, but when we are talking about the followers are more of Sunnis and lesser of Shias. So in the entire world, around 85 to 90% are Sunnis and what 10 to 15% are Shias. So Shias are mostly concentrated in Iran, certain parts of Central Asia. Okay, and yes, a smaller proportion of 5 to 10% among the entire Muslim population in India also. Okay, this ratio prevails, yes. But when we talk about domination of Shias in Iran. Now, clerical authority. So clerical authority means who could be the clerics, okay, the preachers. It can be decentralized. Scholars can, jurists, they can also emerge as preachers. But here the clericals will be under ayatollahs. So centralized in the hierarchies like ayatollah, the topmost cleric, ayatollahs. They will be in the position to appoint the other lower level of clerics. So that means their permission, their domination continues.
Clerics are religious leaders.
Religious preachers, yes, religious preachers. Okay, interpreters. Now, what is the view of history? According to Sunnis, so they emphasize the achievements of the early caliphs. That means they are focusing on the caliphs, the leaders appointed or the selected. But when you talk about the Shias, they are against the first three caliphs, which were promoted by the Sunnis. And hence they were emphasizing on the sacrifices of Hazrat Ali and Imam Hussein. Now, who is Imam Hussein? Hazrat Ali, we know, cousin and son-in-law of Prophet Muhammad, as seen as the first preacher according to the first leader according to the Shias after Prophet Muhammad. Here, Abu Bakr, the close friend, emerged as the first caliph, yes, the first leader. Now, who is Imam Hussein? That means the conflicts emerged. Yes, conflicts became more and more. Now, the caliphs also gave rise to emergence of kingdoms. So, caliphs in Sunnis gave rise to emergence of kingdoms. And now there's a fight between the caliphs headed kingdoms and the other group of people who are Shia. The fights, the battles. Okay. Now, so hence, Ashura. We know that Muharram is a festival of the Shias. Why Muharram is a festival of Shias? Because it was basically focused on the sacrifice of what? Imam Hussein, who fought against the caliphs, the Sunnis. Imam Hussein, who fought against the caliphs called Sunnis in the Battle of Karbala. So let us see. So Ashura refers to the 10th day of Muharram, the first month of the Islamic calendar. It's a day of mourning, that is sadness, for the martyrdom of Imam Hussein at Karbala. So what was the story? The Battle of Karbala. Karbala is in Iraq. Today's Iraq. Karbala is there. The city of Karbala is there. So in 680 AD, between the army of the Umayyad Caliph, Umayyad is the dynasty we are doing after this. So Umayyad Caliph and a small army led by Hussein Ali, that is from Shias. So it's a conflict between Shias and Sunnis. The battle between Shias and Sunnis. So Hussein Ali was the grandson of Prophet Muhammad and he died in the battle. Yes, Sai.
Sir, Caliph is for both, right? Caliph refers to the leadership for both Shia and Sunni, right?
Now, the Caliph was basically the leadership of the
Sunni.
leaders which emerged from the death of or demerged out of death of what Prophet Muhammad, which was basically anyone who can be emerging from consensus, but that was not accepted by the Shias. Okay? So caliphs were not accepted by the Shias. Okay. Okay, so that means Battle of Karbala is basically a conflict between Shias and Sunnis, in which the Shiite leader by the name Hussein Ali, who's the grandson of Prophet Muhammad, died in the battle. That's why when we talk about Muharram, the 10th day of the Muharram is being seen as the day of mourning. Very clear? Now, so these were the major differences between Sunni and Shia. I hope very clear. But what are the common things? Common things that any Muslim can follow. Okay, the common things, that means both of them believe in monotheism, believing in one God. So both of them believe in Allah. Okay, both of them believe that Muhammad is the final prophet. There will not be any prophet. Both of them believe in the Quran. That is, the Quran is the book of the God. Okay, and both of them believe in the 5 principles of Islam that should be followed by a devout Muslim. Very clear? Yes, Parth.
This Hussein ibn Ali and Imam Hussein are the same person.
Imam Hussein are the same.
Okay, Hussein ibn Ali, the grandson, he sacrificed his life at Karbala.
He sacrificed. Imam Hussein and Hussein ibn Ali are the same. I have those stories very clear till now. I hope many things would have been very new in terms of what getting the basic understanding about the origin of Islam. Now this will be carrying forward with how they are going to expand into different regions: Central Asia, the West Asia, and towards Indian subcontinent. Yes, Akash.
Sir, we celebrate Muharram as only one day holiday. So it's written that it's the 10th day of Muharram.
So there's a month. Yes, there's a month. Yes, so there's a month. Okay, the first month of the Islamic calendar. In that, the 10th day, 10th day being considered as the death day of Hussein Ali.
So that day is considered as Ashura as well as Muharram.
That day on which the particular day it is being celebrated, mourned. Yes, so mourning celebration is
okay.
A particular day.
Yes, got it.
Yes, I.
So just one question. So does UPSC go into such depth for religion that has origin from outside Indian?
So I told you that there are 2 ways of teaching. Either I just be teaching the invasion of the Sindh in 712 AD, or maybe coming of the Sultanate, or just naming those dynasties, or a broader viewpoint should be provided that you find a logic in those invasions. Clear? So UPSC thing will be filtering from it itself.
Sir.
Okay, so I do not teach in other teachers' methods. Ki notes likhwa diye, or
Because
just
the chronology is getting better, sir, to understand.
So that's why I teach in a manner where the logic of the history also becomes clear. Clear? I hope now it's better understanding, Sai, now?
Yes, sir, the chronology is getting better.
Sir, just one more doubt, sir. It's written 5 pillars of Islam. So what were the 5 pillars that we the duties, the 5 duties that we...
The 5 duties, those 5 duties are the same for the Shias and Sunnis.
Yes, sir, got it.
Okay. Now, so how the Caliphate kingdoms emerged? Okay, Caliphate emerged. So when we know that when the coming of the Delhi Sultanate period, so they were not seen as the independent kings, they were getting the permission to rule by the caliphs. So whether Qutbuddin Aibak or the Iltutmish, okay, all those, the initial slave dynasty kings who ruled over India, they were ultimately seeing their original guru, their allegiance to the caliphs. Why? Because the caliphs were the original leaders of Islam. And they later also established kingdoms and empires in the Arabian Peninsula.
Can you repeat
I was saying that when you talk about the Delhi Sultanate started from what Qutbuddin Aibak, that is after Muhammad Ghori in 1206 AD. So Qutbuddin Aibak, Iltutmish, okay, all these type of leaders, they considered themselves as the representative of Caliph. The Caliph was the supreme leader of the Islamic world. Very clear. It was in a time of Balban that he sought to break away from the Caliph's control.
Sunni world, right? So Sunni Islamic world.
Sunni Islamic world, major, yes, Sunni Islamic world. But when you talk about a majority, 90% of population is Muslim, so that means we are talking about Islamic world, 90%. So Caliph or a caliphate means Caliph forming an empire, or the Caliphs creating an empire is called caliphate. So Caliphs creating an empire is called caliphate. So the first Arabian empire or the first caliphate that emerged was Umayyad dynasty. Okay, but first of all, let's understand the institution of caliphate was conceived in 632 AD after the death of Prophet Muhammad. The word caliph is derived from Arabic word khalifa, which means deputy, and was a title given to the rulers who succeeded Prophet Muhammad. Because Prophet Muhammad also founded the first Islamic state. Okay, now the next leader was considered deputy of the Prophet Muhammad, and that deputy was named Khalifa, and means expansion of that kingdom into a bigger empire became a caliphate. Okay. So now the major first were the Umayyads. The first emerged the Umayyads, followed by Abbasids. From the Abbasids, so the Umayyads and Abbasids will lead us to the connection with Indian subcontinent. Very clear. So here, so let us now start with Umayyads and Abbasids were called caliphs. They expanded their rule by conquests and spread their religion, Islam. So there was a shift to absolute monarchy Islamic history, and that started by Umayyad dynasty. So first Islamic dynasty was Umayyad dynasty. So let's see the contributions of Umayyad dynasty now. So Umayyad dynasty was founded by Abi Sufyan, a member of the powerful Quraysh. Yes, again the Quraysh tribe. Initially, Quraysh tribe was the opponents, but when they were overpowered by Prophet Muhammad, they became believers in Prophet Muhammad's teaching. Very clear. So was a member of powerful Quraysh tribe of Makkah. So Umayyads were initially opponents of Muhammad, but converted to Islam after Makkah was conquered in 630 AD by Prophet Muhammad. Clear? I hope you got the link now. Now, but they created a huge empire. Yes, huge empire is extending from. So Islam also reached the Iberian Peninsula, that is Spain and Portugal in that time period. That means they have also captured a substantial area, what North Africa also and the southern Europe also. Now, so the capital was moved from Medina. Medina was in Saudi Arabia to Damascus in Syria because it's a more central location to control both the east and west. Okay. Now the empire stretched from Spain in the west to India in the east. Let's see the map now. Yes. So Umayyads. Now you are seeing the image. So we are seeing Umayyads where? You are seeing Umayyads. We are seeing Umayyads in North Africa. North Africa, we are seeing Umayyads. We are seeing in the Iberian Peninsula. Iberian Peninsula, we are seeing here. That is Spain and Portugal. Okay. The entire Arabian Peninsula. When we talk about the countries like what? Syria, Jordan, Iraq, Iran, and Afghanistan and touching India. That is Sindh part. Sindh part of India. So that is the first invasion of Sindh happened in the time of Umayyads. First invasion of Sindh happened in the time of Umayyads. Umayyad dynasty. So that's why, so when the Medina is here, so what is the best place to ultimately see the both east and west? Damascus. This is the Damascus in Syria. So this is Damascus. It is a more centrally located place. You can control the eastern part also. You can control the western part also. So Damascus became the location. Damascus, the capital of Syria, also known as Damashq. Okay. So Damascus. So Damascus is more centrally located. Now, what are the religious policies being followed? So emphasize the supremacy of Islam, because now they were the promoters of Islam, they have to now deal with the other religions. Okay. Now, for example, haven't we seen tussle between Buddhism and Brahmanism in India? Okay, certain kings promoted Brahmanism, certain kings promoted Buddhism, and there's always tussle going on. Finally, the ball settled in the favor of Brahmanism. Same when we're talking about the promotion of Islam, adopted now by the first Caliphate dynasty as their religion, so they will be promoting Islam now, and hence they will be subduing or controlling other religions. So the same thing started to happen here, emphasized the supremacy of Islam, but allowed religious minorities like the Christians, the Jews, and the Zoroastrians to practice their faith under a system called Dhimmi system. That means they were now going to pay a tax called jizya. Okay. So when we teach communally, or when we teach communally through WhatsApp and what communal politics when we do, we talk that Muslims impose jizya on Hindus. Okay. But when we see, the jizya was first imposed in Arabia first. On whom? The Christians, the Jews, and the Zoroastrians. Okay. That means it was a policy. It was a policy that was applicable for all. It was a policy that was applicable for all. That means emphasize the supremacy of Islam, but allowed religious minorities to function, but they were forced to give a certain tax that is called jizya. So jizya is a protection protection tax, that we will not be harming your religion, but you have to pay certain tax to the government in exchange for protection. And they also favored Arab Muslims in comparison to non-Arab converts to Islam. Yes, you were saying something, Akash?
Yes, sir. I was saying that they were not, in the sense, religiously tolerant.
Because they were monotheistic in nature, no? So there should be a difference between monotheistic and polytheism. Because when we talk about the Indian kings and Indian gods, they were following Hinduism, which is providing them options. If you're not a believer of Shiva, you can adopt Vishnu. If you are not a believer of Vishnu, you can adopt something else. If you are not even a believer in Hinduism, you can promote Jainism. Okay. So here we are talking about a system which is emerging in a manner which is going to promote only one thing.
Okay.
So it will definitely be acting in a manner to reduce the prestige of the others. Okay, so the situation is now emerging differently now.
Okay, got it, sir.
So emphasize the supremacy of Islam, and the other religious minorities were allowed to function, but in the form of a protection tax that is called jizya. And now they were giving more weightage to the locals, that is Arab Muslims. So the Muslims, so that is Arabs who converted to Muslims, they were valued more in comparison to the settlers in Arabia who were converting to Islam. So that led to what? Discrimination, that led to social tensions, or maybe certain degree of internal conflicts later. For example, who can be those non-Arab converts? Can be Turks coming later. Because when we have seen all those Umayyad dynasty, we also see the areas of the Turks also coming under it. They will be hiring what certain Turk tribes as governors for their for their regions. Even in Central Asia, they'll posting certain Turks. But those Turks convert, or those Afghan converts into what? Christianity. So into Islam, they will be giving initial less weightage. Okay. So non-Arab converts can be Turks, later Afghans, Turks, Afghans, even Persians, Turks, Afghans, Persians. So non-Arab converts. And gradually these also became various powerful groups, because when they became nobles, when they became the commanders of various areas, they also became powerful. That led to the conflicts later. Now during the time period of Umayyad dynasty came the first invasion of Sindh. So now the invasion of Sindh. Now otherwise many people teach directly from invasion of Sindh. So where is the story before that? Unless you connect, the things will not be clear for the student. Now it's very clear, because we are seeing the Umayyads are expanding everywhere. From the Spain, it's not only what focused on India, ki Hinduo ko kuchalna hai. It's not. That's the way the politics teach. Okay, that's the way many teachers also teach. We are seeing that they're expanding everywhere. Central Asia भी जा रहे हैं, Iran भी जा रहे हैं, North Africa भी है, Europe भी है. Then also they are looking towards India also. So now invasion of Sindh. So in 712 AD, Muhammad bin Qasim invaded Sindh. And he was the commander of the Umayyad kingdom. Now, what is the major reason of attacking? There was maybe certain disruption in the Arab trade via the sea around the Sindh coast. We know Arabs have been traders in the Rajput period also, in the Chola period also. Okay, we have seen all those. Chalukyan period also, Arabs are also coming the area. So that means there would have been disruption of the sea trade around the area of Sindh. So the reason Umayyad governor of Iraq sent Muhammad Qasim to Sindh to stop piracy or pirates from the port of Debal in Sindh from capturing Arab ships. Aren't we seeing still the pirates attack on the ships passing through Red Sea by the Somali pirates, Somalia? Okay, the same type, similar things would have been happening around the area of Sindh. So hence the Muhammad bin Qasim was sent to crush that, to control that. Now hence Qasim defeated Dahir, the king of Sindh, and the king was also killed in the battle of Aror. His capital was Aror was captured. Yes, Aror is a place in Sindh, Pakistan. Qasim further extended his conquest into Multan, that is Punjab. We'll see the map again, the image again. So Punjab is northern Pakistan, Sindh is southern Pakistan. And also Qasim now organized the administration of Sindh. So now after capturing those locations, now he also put in basic administration for the running of that particular region under the Umayyad dynasty's control. Umayyad dynasty's control. Now there is a text by the name Chachnama. So Chachnama provides details about the administrative regulations introduced in the Brahmanabad or Brahmanbad, also known as Hyderabad. So all these locations were initially Hindu. Okay. So Brahmanabad would have been a location in Sindh. So Hyderabad, we are talking about Hyderabad of Sindh, Pakistan. Hyderabad of Sindh, Pakistan. So Hyderabad is in Sindh, Pakistan. So Hyderabad is a city, a big city in the Sindh province of Pakistan. Now, when you see this image now that means this is the area of Sindh. Now this is Multan. So he reached till Multan. So Multan is in Punjab of today's Pakistan. So this is the Debal port where the issue of piracy would have been happening. Aror. This is Aror in what upper part of the Sindh, Aror. So Battle of Aror, in which the king was killed. Okay, so the text which is talking about the administrative regulations settled by a Umayyad under the Muhammad bin Qasim has been mentioned in Chachnama. Now the people of Sindh were also given a state of the priority subject. Okay, the same, they have to pay jizya also. So that means the protection which was given to the Jews, the Christians and the Zoroastrians were now extended to Hindus living in Sindh now. Very clear? The same policy. So empire was following the same policy as they were following with others. Hence, there was no interference. There was no interference in the lives and the property of the people. But Qasim was recalled by the Caliph due to internal discontent within the Umayyads. And that internal discontent happening between Arabs versus non-Arabs. Okay. So Arab converts into Islam, into non-Arab converts into Islam. So internal discontent started. Hence, Qasim was recalled from Sindh. However, Sindh continued to be under Arabs, but the Muslims could not expand their authority further into India due to the presence of, and I hope you can connect, powerful Pratihara kingdom in the western. So this was entire Gurjar Pratiharas. This was under Gurjar Pratihara. I hope now you can connect. That's why I taught the kingdoms before. Now, who was the king? Who was the first king who repelled from Gurjar Pratiharas?
So the one king before Raja Bhojmoni.
Nagabhatta. So Nagabhatta was the first king who repelled Gurjar Pratihara. So now the Gurjar Pratihara has come. So when you revise this today's handout, so also revise Gurjar Pratiharas. So here, but the Muslims could not expand because of the presence of what? Gurjar Pratihara. That was the end of the first form of Muslim conquest, which only culminated at the location called Sindh. It did not move beyond. At least 300 years, it did not move beyond. Further, it started from the time of Ghazni and Ghori. So now, so what was why the Muhammad Qasim was recalled? Because there is an internal discontent within the Umayyad empire going on between the Arab converts to Muslims and the non-Arab converts to Muslims. So dispute started. So non-Arab Muslims resented their marginalization. Further, the Shia faction was also raising their voice along with other groups opposed Umayyad rule, accusing them of prioritizing the political power over the Islamic preachings. So even the Shias started to blame the Umayyads that they're more focused on what kingdoms and empires rather than were promoting Islam. Hence, finally, in this chaos that happened due to this internal conflict or the factionalism or the more discontent created by Shias, there was an overthrow of the Umayyad dynasty by the Abbasid revolution. So hence, in 750 AD, Umayyads were overthrown by Abbasid revolution. Next dynasty, Abbasids. So next caliphs, Abbasids. In the Battle of Zab, 750 AD. In the Battle of Zab, 750 AD. Now, the Abbasid dynasty was the major dynasty which was more interested in what? Culturally building the Islam by learning from others. So this Abbasid dynasty was now open to learning from the Indians also and from the Greeks and the Romans also. So whatever the books the Greeks and Romans were happening brought by the Arab scholars, whatever the Indian scholars were having, so if Indian books were there, brought by the Arab scholars for translation. And they were now trying to learn, yes, and also contribute by adding their own knowledge. So even various Indian scholars were called by the court of Abbasids to settle there and contribute and help in translations. Okay, so let's see now. So Abbasid dynasty was the second major Islamic caliphate and often considered as the golden age of the Islamic civilization, Abbasids. This dynasty succeeded the Umayyads and brought significant cultural, scientific, and administrative developments shaping the Islamic world for centuries. Now the Abbasids claimed their descent from Abbas, Muttalib, that is the uncle of Prophet Muhammad, for giving them religious legitimacy. I hope the same thing as various kings and kingdoms in India, they were claiming linkages with Ikshvaku dynasty or the Krishna or the Mahabharata, the same thing, for gaining legitimacy, the same thing. So when talk about the monarchy functioned in a similar way across the world. So Abbasid claimed descent from the Abbas Muttalib, the uncle of Prophet Muhammad, to gain legitimacy. Hence the name Abbasid. Now the caliphs were now seen as the spiritual and political leaders. Now they have claimed again the divine origin, okay, linked with the prophet. Prophet is the representative of God. Now the kings claimed that status of what? Representative of God. Okay. Now the caliphs were seen as spiritual and political leaders, and the day-to-day administration was handled by various chief ministers. Now, Abbasids shifted their capital from Syria to Baghdad in Iraq, marking a shift towards more Persian cultural political influences. Baghdad is close to Persia, so hence they started to promote more Persian. So they were Persian is a language also. And even when you talk about the Mughals, those were promoting Persians, even Delhi Sultanate, more Persian, because they were gradually influenced by the Persian adoption as the major language. Yes, Parth.
Sir, this spiritual leadership is seen as divine kingship.
It's a divine kingship, because now they are claiming that they are the leaders of the entire Islamic world.
Okay.
So whether you are ruling in India, whether you are ruling in any African country, it does not matter. Yes, we are your spiritual guru.
Sir, and imams of Shia Muslim essentially are not seen as political leaders, right? They are just religious leaders.
They are religious leader within their own section and community.
Okay, but not political leaders.
No, they are not political leaders.
Okay.
And sir, why did the Abbasids shifted the capital from Damascus to Baghdad?
Because see, they had to face now what expansion of what more and more the Byzantine Empire. So Byzantine Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire, was expanding more and more and creating pressure on them. So they shifted the capital and towards what more eastern location, that is Baghdad.
Yes, sir, got it.
Okay, so Byzantine Empire. The Abbasids moved their capital now. So let us see. So first, in the time of the Umayyads, the invasion of Sindh happened. The invasion of Sindh led to what? Control of the Sindh by the Islamic world. Now that led to what? Continuity of cultural exchanges even in the time of Abbasids also. Clear? So let us see the impact of the conquest of Sindh and what was the role of Abbasids in what cultural exchange now. Conquest of Sindh and Abbasids. Now, although the conquest of Sindh did not lead to further conquest immediately, it had resulted in the diffusion of Indian culture abroad. So many Arab travelers visited Sindh. Hence, the knowledge of Hindu philosophy reached the Arabian world. Knowledge of mathematics, okay, that's why we talk about Arabic numerals. Though those numerals are Indian numerals, okay? Arabic numerals. They also learned from Indian astronomy. All those books written during time of what on astronomy in time of what Gupta Empire were translated by Arabs under Abbasids. And even the books of Charak Samhita, Charak, okay? All those also translated. That means when they had opened up the gateway to India, so they started to learn from Indians their knowledge, and they got them translated in Baghdad. In Baghdad, they created House of Wisdom, where various translations and a huge library was created. So the famous Arab mathematician Al-Khwarizmi, translated many Indian books into Arabic. So this is a very famous what mathematician. So around 820 AD, that is the time period of Abbasid, he was appointed as the astronomer and head of the library, that is House of Wisdom in Baghdad. And he also called the father of algebra. He wrote Kitab al-Zabar Muqabla, yes, a book on algebra. And the word algorithm is derived from the Latinization of his name. So Al-Khwarizm, so Al means giving rise to a term called algorithm. Yes, a mathematics designed by Mr. Al-Khwarizmi. So the Latinization, Latin means European version of his name, gave rise to what? Algorithm. So the word algorithm is derived from the Latinization of his name. His another book, that is Kitab al-Hisab-e-Hind. Hisab means numerals, used Indian numerals. So he named Indian numerals as Hindsa. That is borrowed from Hind. So the numerals borrowed from Hind, that is Hindustan. All these are compiled wherein Kitab al-Hisab al-Hind. Hisab is again numbers, calculation. Hisab is calculation. And this Hisab or numbers are coming from what? Hind, area called Hind. Hence they were termed as Hindsa. And when this book was carried forward to Europe, so these were transferred by Arab scholars. So the Europeans thought that these were originated from what Arab world, so hence they gave name Arabic numerals. Now there's his geography book also, Kitab Surat al-Ard. Kitab Surat. Surat here is, okay, the land surface. Okay, the land surface. Surat means, okay, the geography, the Bhugol. So the land face or the land's Surat is what here? Geography. So Kitab al-Surat is a book of the image of the earth. So image is Surat. So image is your face. So it's made. And of the list, it also mentions about the certain knowledge about latitudes and longitudes. Now further, other Indian scholars, many Indian scholars such as Bhala and Manaka were invited to Baghdad. So these was called for translations. Even an Indian physician called Dhana, he was appointed the chief medical officer of Baghdad. CMO, chief medical officer of Baghdad. That means this was a dynasty which was willing to learn from everyone. Even Abu Bashar, an Arab astronomer, was living in Banaras to study astronomy for 10 years. So what we are finding is huge cultural linkages, cultural exchange happening, knowledge exchange happening. Further, a delegation from India came to Baghdad in 771 AD. And this delegation consisted of an astronomer called Kanaka, who carried with him a small library, that is books, including Surya Siddhanta and the works of Aryabhatta and Brahmagupta. All these were of what? Gupta period. Now, with the help of Indian scholars, so Indian scholars were now involved in what? House of Wisdom into translation. Many noted Indian works on astronomy such as Brahma Siddhanta, Khand Khadayak were translated into Arabic. Surya Siddhanta, Charak Samhita, Shushra Samhita were also translated. That is, Indian books of medicine and Indian books of what? Astronomy and astrology were translated. With the help of Indian scholars living where? In the House of Wisdom in Baghdad under Abbasids. Now, since Sindh was a part of the Arab Empire, the inflow of Indian knowledge was great. Now, let's see the other technological achievements of Abbasids. For example, Ibn Haytham, Al-Haytham, in the West he is known in Latin word Alhazen, contributed greatly to the field of optics. So optics is what? Is basically a science linked with sight and light. Optics. Further, so that means they were focusing on what? Knowledge of medicine and translation of what? Various Indian texts of medicine for their knowledge. They have appointed what? Various doctors, even chief medical officers. So an Indian was a chief medical officer, but the Baghdad was comprising of what? Many doctors. So medicine occupied a prominent place in Islamic society. It is said that at its peak, Baghdad counted more than 800 doctors. Now, there's one more person, Avi Sinha, known for his philosophical work, is a respected great doctor who produced encyclopedia in the field. That is a canon on medicine and the book of healing. Now, there was another doctor, Al-Kindi. He was one of the earliest doctors to distinguish between the physical illness of the body and the mental illness of the mind. Physical illness and the mental illness of the mind. Now, Al-Batani improved the measurement of the precision of Earth's axis, which helped in what? Construction of Greek astrolabe. Astrolabe is an instrument which helps in measuring the altitude as well as latitude. So astrolabe. And he contributed greatly to the navigation, yes, navigation knowledge by measuring the latitudes and longitude, or latitudes and the altitudes of the place. And one more contribution is Abbasids also made great progress in irrigation by introduction of what? First windmills. First windmills. So as they were more into the probing or learning. So that means, this clearly means the society which promotes more learning and education leads to what? Further development of knowledge and exploration. It's as simple as possible. A society which kills learning, knowledge building, ultimately destroys itself. So as they were willing to learn from everyone, so that's why they were progressing in terms of science, the literature, everything.
Sir, can you please repeat what was that astrolabe?
Astrolabe is basically a Greek instrument which was created after borrowing from the knowledge of the Arabs to measure the altitude of a place, okay, the height of the place, as well also create the latitudinal differences.
Okay.
Okay, which further helped in what? Navigation and identification of places. Now, they learned the art of paper making from China. They brought it to the Arab world, paper making. Now, when you talk about, so that's why the paper was also introduced by the Islamic kingdoms in India. That's why when you talk about the proper compilation of history in terms of the paper text started from the Islam coming to India. Because they learned the art of paper making from China and they brought that knowledge to India also. So introduction of paper from China, which is slowly spread to the rest of the Muslim world. And even they learned about the gunpowder from China. Gunpowder was also an element brought from China. And now they were also able to develop the formulas for different type of explosion. That's why they brought the cannons into India, explosives into India. Now further, Arabic poetry and literature. You must have heard about Arabian Nights story that became popular across the world. Okay? So Abbasid rule was the first time when great works of fiction also emerged, like 1001 stories, that is known as Arabian Nights, Abbasids. So I hope you know clearly that Prophet Muhammad was followed by Umayyads. Umayyads were followed by Abbasids. And in the time of the Umayyads, the first invasion of Sindh happened. But the learnings brought into the Arab world from India through the channel of Sindh was under Abbasids. Now come the decline of Abbasids. So the decline of Abbasids begin to start from what? End of 9th century AD. Abbasid Caliphate declined gradually. Now, who were becoming powerful? The Turkish governors were now becoming powerful, because those Turkish governors were appointed governors of larger areas, including the area of Central Asia, the countries that we talk today, that Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan. So the Turkish governors were there. Turkish governors were also there in Ghazni or Afghanistan. So gradually these governors were becoming more and more powerful, and they started to challenge the Abbasids. So the Turkish governors established independent kingdoms, and the caliph became only a ritual authority. And the first Turkish dynasty which emerged was Samanid. So hence in Khurasan is an area in eastern province of Iran. And Transoxiana is beyond Oxus. Oxus is, do you know about the Aral Sea?
Yes.
Aral Sea, which is almost
Amu Darya and Sid Darya.
so it's shrinking very fast. But there are two source rivers, Amu Darya and Sir Darya. So Oxus is Amu Darya. Amu Darya is Oxus. So first of all, the Turkish leaders who were emerging in what? Khorasan, that is eastern province of Iran, and Transoxiana, that is in Central Asia. What happened? Who was the leader? Saman Khuda founded the Samanid dynasty. So this was a Turkic dynasty. This was a Turkic dynasty, Samanid. So Transoxiana is a Latin name that means land beyond the Oxus, that is Amu Darya. So Oxus river is Amu Darya. So it refers to the historical region of Central Asia, which now comprises of Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan. The name itself is Turk, Kyrgyzstan. Okay, I hope Parth, now you got clarity. You were asking how the Turks came here. So these were the governors under the Umayyads and the Abbasids.
Sir, which astronomy book was translated by Abbasid? You were saying.
No, all those that Suri Siddhanta.
Okay.
Okay, so all those that Indians have written before were translated.
Aryabhatta's work was also there, no?
Yes, Aryabhatta, all those works. Now, so let's see. So this is Khorasan. Okay, Khorasan is eastern part of Iran, which is extended till Afghanistan. This is Transoxiana. That is the Central Asian part. And this is RLC. This is RLC. And this river is Oxus River or the Amudarya. This river is Oxus. Again, I demarcated different color. So this is the Oxus River. This is the Oxus River. This is the Oxus River, that is Amudarya. And this is the Sirdarya. This is Sirdarya. This is Sirdarya. So Amudarya is the lower one or the southern one, and the Sirdarya is the upper one. So beyond Oxus is Transoxiana. This is Trans-Oxus region. Very clear? This is Transoxiana. So now the Turkic noble who became very powerful there started the Samanid dynasty. And Samanid dynasty is linked with what? Mahmud of Ghazni later. Now, so under him, now in the Samanid dynasty, under him, one of the generals who became very powerful, under the Samanid dynasty, a general who became very powerful was Alpjin. He rose to the power of commander-in-chief under the Samanid dynasty. So one of the Turk general, who was the general of the Samanid dynasty, became very powerful, and later he started to challenge the Samanid themselves. He started his own rule from Ghazni. So initially from the control of Abbasid, the Samanid dynasty emerged. From the Samanid dynasty, one of the very powerful general, Alpjin, emerged, which started to challenge even the Samanid and started rule from what? Ghazni in Afghanistan. His successor was Sabuktujin, and Sabuktujin was the founder of Ghaznavid dynasty. So Sabuktujin was the founder of Ghaznavid dynasty that we are going to link with Mahmud of Ghazni. Okay, so what is the
Sabuktujin was the son-in-law of Saman Khuda or
Alpjin? Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, Alpjin, the commander. Okay. So what is the sequence we are seeing? Umayyads. Okay. Then we are talking about the Abbasids. From the Abbasids control emerged the Samanids. From the Samanids control emerged the Ghaznavids. So Sabuktujin was the founder of the Ghaznavid dynasty. Now he succeeded in capturing Peshawar. From what? Jaipala, I hope you remember, Hindu Shahi dynasty. But his raids did not produce a lasting effect. Again, now you are going to revise what? Hindu Shahis. And he was succeeded by his son Mahmud. So Mahmud of Ghazni. Now this person came towards India. Mahmud of Ghazni. So now you also got the linkages from where the Mahmud of Ghazni emerged. Now let us talk about Mahmud of Ghazni now. So Mahmud of Ghazni, he ruled from what? Almost 33 or 32 years. 997 or 998. Some books mention 998, but it's hardly a difference of 1 year till 1030. So around 32 to 33 years. So Mahmud was born in 971 in the city of Ghazni. He ruled for 32 years, 998 to 1030. And within this time period of 27 years, 1000 AD till 1027 AD, he attacked 17 times. In the Indian subcontinent, mostly the northern part, the maximum reach was till Gujarat, okay, the Somnath temple, and towards the east, it was till Mathura. Okay, the Indo-Gangetic plain, it was still Mathura and Kannauj. Yes, Kannauj. So Mahmud launched his expeditions on India. His expedition in India were more focused on accumulating wealth, especially from the temples, rather than imposing Islam on the Indian population. So he was more of what? What cultivator of wealth. Cultivator of wealth. And we know that the Hindu or the Hindu system has got a system of accumulating wealth beneath the temples. Okay, that was known far and wide. Even we have remembered what even the King Harsha of Kashmir, okay, also looted various temples, because temples was the center for what? Accumulation of wealth. There were hundis, okay, there were what underground what storage systems for the wealth. For example, today also various ancient Hindu temples have got a huge wealth under them. Okay. Yes, Parth.
Sir, you mentioned a point about Mathura and Kannauj for Ghazni. So what was
So I was saying that when he came to India for 16, 17 times exactly. So in that time period, he was able to reach as far as Gujarat, okay, in the western part of India. And when we talk about the eastern extension of the easternmost extension or the reach of Mahmud Ghazni was Mathura and Kannauj, easternmost.
So essentially, you are saying he came 17 times, he plundered and he went back.
He went back. He was not in a mood of settling here.
Okay, for these
so he was basically a treasure hunter. Yes, so we have read various stories of treasure hunting. He was basically a treasure hunter. He was not in a mood for establishing a kingdom here. Now this is the area of Ghaznavids when they captured. So actually he captured only the Punjab location. So Punjab location he captured. Now this was the huge Ghaznavid empire that he created, which includes a place called Ghur, 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 from where the Muhammad Ghori later came. So that means his kingdom was comprising of what? The parts of Iran was there. The parts of Iran, Afghanistan, today's Pakistan. So majorly Pakistan, Afghanistan, and parts of Iran that was there in his kingdom, and even touching the parts of Central Asia. So the area that he captured was only Punjab. So let's see the raids. Yes, the raids of what Mahmud Ghaznavi. So initial raids were against the Hindu Shahi kingdom, because we know Hindu Shahi were in the border of the route. Yes, Hindu Shahis were here, Punjab and touching Kashmir. Okay. So that means they were in the border. So that means they have to be controlled first. So we all know about the Hindu Shahi. So Japala, the Battle of Peshawar and the Battle of Wahind we have done before. So Battle of Peshawar was fought in 1001 between the Ghaznavid, Mahmud of Ghazni, and Japala near Peshawar. After defeating him there, he captured the battle. He captured his capital Und or Wahind. This termed as First Battle of Wahind. The Und. Now that means he was so dejected. Japala was so dejected. He was so remorseful. He was not able to see himself in his own eyes, that he burnt himself to death. He murdered himself because he thought that his defeat was a disgrace. After this second battle of Wahind, with respect to the Hindu Shahis, so that's also termed as Battle of Chach. Second Battle of Wahind, 1008 AD, between Anandpala and Mahmud of Ghazni. As a result of this victory, Mahmud extended his rule over most of Punjab. Now, further in between, he was attacking different areas. For example, he also attacked what Multan in 104 and defeated a local Muslim governor there, Abdul Fath Daud, who would have been the extension of the initial Abbasid Empire, Multan. So he captured Multan. Now, further, again Punjab. There's a place called Bhera in Punjab, Pakistan. So there's a Biji Rai. So he was again operating mostly in the Punjab part of the Pakistan. He's operating in the Multan part. Then second invasion of Multan means he invaded Multan twice. Okay. He invaded what? Hindu Shahis twice. Yeah, Hindu Shahis twice and Multan twice. He also attacked what? Nagarkot in Punjab Hills. So Nagarkot is today in Himachal Pradesh. We know earlier the Himachal Pradesh was a part of Punjab. Nagarkot. Then he ventured towards Haryana. Thanesar, you all know Thanesar. Harshvardhan. So let us again connect. So first of all, starting with Hindu Shahis twice. Then surrounding area including Multan, again a part of Punjab. Okay. Then Punjab Hills. Then we are to moving to after Punjab reaching Haryana, that is Thanesar. Then crossing Haryana 1018, Mathura, and also attacked Kannauj. Now, the only area which he fully annexed was annexation of Punjab. He finally did in what? 1021, annexation of Punjab. Annexation of Punjab. And even Gwalior and Kalanjar in Banda district of UP. So Gwalior is in today's Madhya Pradesh.
So these were not annexed, right? These were just planted.
These were not annexed. Yes, these were just attacked. Only the annexation was done of Punjab. Now, the biggest attack of his was the Somnath temple, 1025 to 26. 1025 to 26. So his next most important raid was against Gujarat, and Mahmud marched from Multan across Rajputana, defeated the Solanki king Bhimdeva I. Again, you have to revise that. Chalukyas of Gujarat plundered the capital of Solankis, Patan, and also sacked the famous temple Somnath. Now, the description of Somnath is being mentioned in a book that is called Tariq al-Zel Amasir. Is a book which mentions about the Somnath temple, the description. So always try to remember now the books, important. Then he returned to the Sindh desert. His last campaign was against the Jats of Haryana again, 1027. Jats. 1027. Finally died in what? 1030 AD.
So Ghazni did not have a political ambition.
He did not have any political ambition. He did not. He was only wanted to become as rich as possible. Now the impact of Mahmud. Now, Mahmud was not mere a raider or plunderer of wealth. Yes, he built also wide empire, but that empire is more towards the western part, not towards the Indian part. He built a wide empire from Punjab in the east, so that only area that he annexed was Punjab in the east, to Caspian Sea on the west. So where is Caspian Sea? This is Caspian Sea. Where is Punjab? So here starting from what? Pakistan part of Punjab. Yes. So from Pakistan part of Punjab till Caspian Sea. And from Samarkand in the north. So Samarkand is where in what? Samarkand is where in Uzbekistan. Yes. So here, Samarkand. In the north to Gujarat in the south. Yes, that means till Gujarat he was able, yes, touching the borders of Gujarat. So that means, so this was also in this area, Afghanistan, Iran, okay, and touching Gujarat. So here, when we include Gujarat, it will be looking like this. It will be looking like this. It will be looking like this. So he crafted. Now, he was also a good patron. Yes, that means he was a marauder. He was a treasure hunter. He was an attacker, but he was also the promoter of what? Art and literature. For example, he is associated with two very, very important historians. And so first is Firdausi, was a poet laureate in his court, and he is the author of Shahnama. Shahnama is River of Kings. Shahnama is River of Kings. And Al-Biruni was the first historian, first Muslim historian who was brought by Mahmud Ghazni, and he had written a book called Kitab-ul-Hind, an account of India. Al-Biruni. His conquest of Punjab and Multan completely changed the political situation in India. He paved the way for further. He opened up the route. Yes, he opened the route towards Indian subcontinent. He paved up the route for later the Turks invasion, the Afghans invasion for the conquest and make deeper incursions into Gangetic Valley. Now the Hindu Shahi kingdoms was guarding the gates of India against foreign invaders, so Mahmud destroyed them. And thus India's frontiers became defenseless. And further, the inclusion of Punjab and Afghanistan Ghazni's kingdom made the subsequent Muslim conquest of India more easy. More easy. Very clear?
Sir, you were talking about the Shahnama was the River of Kings.
River of Kings.
So it was basically a book on the Mahmud itself.
That is not mentioned, but it's talking about the different kings emerging from the Ghaznavids. Okay, it may not be focusing only on the Mahmud.
Just like the Rajtarangani we have read in
Yes,
the
yes.
Okay.
Now, but as we know, the Mahmud was only interested in what, as in plundering and looting the treasury. He was not interested in creating a deeper empire into India. But that task was carried forward by Muhammad Ghori. But that task came almost 150 years after Mahmud of Ghazni. So Mahmud of Ghazni's last venture into India was 1027 AD. Okay, 1027 AD was the last venture into India. Now, when we talk about Muhammad Ghori's first venture was 1191 AD. So we are seeing almost a time difference of 160 years. Yes, time difference of 160 years. So let us see now the three dates. Yeah, three dates. First of all, the first Arab invasion of Sindh, 712 AD. After that, there was a complete stop of the incursions. Now we talk about Mahmud of Ghazni. The incursion stopped in what is 10 from what 1001 till 1027 AD. That means 300 after this, 300 years after the invasion of Sindh. And then when we talk about Muhammad Ghori, after 1027, starting in 1191 AD. Again, a time difference of 150 years. So here the time difference is 300 years. And here the time difference between Ghaznavi and Ghori is 150 years.
Ghori had political ambitions, right?
Ghori had political ambition. So there's a huge time difference. So now let us start at least Ghurid dynasty and Muhammad Ghori. Let's take for 5-10 minutes. So the major differentiator between the Ghazni and Ghori is Ghazni was basically a plunderer, not interested in empire, and Ghori had got maybe an idea of establishing a kingdom in India and settling. Now, so this is the Ghurid dynasty at its maximum possible extent when it also settled in India. So Muhammad Ghori did not settle in India, but his successor Qutbuddin Aibak established and extended it Bengal. I hope we have done that. Bengal was attacked by Mahmud Khalji. So Muhammad Ghori has got two important commanders. One was Qutbuddin Aibak and second was Mahmud Khalji. Qutbuddin Aibak was sent to control and capture Gujarat, and Mahmud Khalji was sent to capture Bengal. Okay, but ultimately the successor of the Muhammad Ghori was Qutbuddin Aibak, and Mahmud Khalji remained in Bengal. So Mahmud Khalji remained in Bengal. So let us start with what Ghurid dynasty. So Ghurids or the Ghurids were the vassals or the feudatories of Ghazni. So they were the feudatories of Mahmud of Ghazni Empire. but became independent after the death of Ghazni, the last king. The last king's name was Ghazni.
Ghazni was Turk and Gurs were Afghanis, right?
Pardon?
The Ghazni was Turk and Gurs were Afghani.
No, both of them were Turks. Yes, both of them were Turks.
Achha.
Both of them were Turks.
Yeah, Muhammad Ghori was a Turk.
Muhammad Ghori was also Turk. Yeah.
Okay.
The Ghurid Empire was based in Gur in northwest Afghanistan. So let's see the map. Northwest Afghanistan. So this is the place. Yes, northwest Afghanistan. This is the place where the Gur is there. Northwest Afghanistan. Northwest Afghanistan. So it is far away from Ghazni. Ghazni is towards eastern Afghanistan. Ghazni is eastern Afghanistan, and Gur is what? Northwest. So the Ghurid Empire was based in the Gur in the northwest Afghanistan. Now Ghuris were originally Buddhist. कैसे link होगा? We have seen Turk Shahis, Hindu Shahis. Turk Shahis were Buddhists.
Sir, even Kushans can we link?
But we have done the Hindu Shahis and the Turk Shahis.
Yes.
So Turk Shahis and Hindu Shahis we have done. So we have done that. But the Buddhism was in this place of Afghanistan and Central Asia because of Kushans. So that means the people who are living there, so they adopted first of all Buddhism. And with the coming of the Mihir Kula, so they adopted Hinduism also. So the Turk tribal group divided into two, the Buddhist group and the Hindu group. So the Turk, who are actually the Buddhists, were known as Turk Shahis, and the Hindus have got a name called Hindu Shahis. So hence these Turks, the Ghurids, were initially Buddhists. I hope the entire history is now getting linked. So now the Ghurids were originally Buddhist, but converted to Islam in 10th century after being influenced by the neighboring Islamic empires. Islamic empires, 10th century. So Samanids emerged. Later Ghaznavis emerged, and hence the Ghurids also adopted Islam. The power of Ghurids increased under Sultan Alauddin. Now, so they started as a vassal or the feudatories of Ghaznavids. So first of all, Sultan Alauddin captured Ghazni by destroying it completely, by burning it. Yes. So Sultan Alauddin, who earned the title of what? The world burner, that is Jahan Soz, because he ravaged Ghazni by burning it. So Sultan Alauddin of Gur started as a feudatory of Ghaznavids, claimed independence by destroying Ghazni, not simply destroying it, by burning it. And he got a title called Jahan Soz. Now the person who will be interested towards India will be this Shahabuddin Muhammad, also known as Muhammad Ghori. So in 1173 AD, Shahabuddin Muhammad, also known as Muizzuddin Muhammad bin Sam, full name. In short, Muhammad Ghori ascended the throne at Ghazni because Ghazni already captured by the Ghurids. While the elder brother of Muhammad Ghori ruled at Gur. Okay, so Gur was looking towards the western part. And as this was given more eastern location of Ghazni, he started to look towards India. Got it? He started to look towards India. So now, also known as Muizzuddin Muhammad bin Sam, particularly known as Muhammad Ghori, ascended throne at Ghazni while his elder brother ruled at Gur. He is considered one of the greatest of the Ghurid dynasty and laid the foundation of the Muslim rule in India as well as in South Asia. Now, why he was forced to look towards India? Because in the Iran part, a new empire was emerging, which was very powerful. That's called Khwarizm Empire. And it was difficult to fight against the Khwarizm. Hence, Muhammad Ghori was forced to look towards east. Now, imagine if the Khwarizm Empire would not have been started at that time period or expanding, then even the Muhammad Ghori would be more inclined towards the western part, not towards the Indian part. Okay, so conditions. So being ambitious, Ghori wanted to expand his territory, but there was a powerful Khwarizm Empire to its west. Therefore, he turned his attention towards India. So India was not his first choice. India was not his first choice of expansion. So this should be noted. So India was not his first choice for expansion. So this was the Khwarizm Empire, yes, in 1215 AD. And by that time, the Delhi Sultanate has already taken shape in 1206 AD. So 1215 AD Khwarizm Empire. So what we are seeing is again controlling the areas from the Turkey part to the Syria, the Middle East, yes. Okay, the Iran part, Afghanistan part, Central Asian part. So that means when the Ghurids were there, so when he was sitting at Ghazni, it was difficult to tackle them. So hence he moved towards India. And he moves towards India. Okay, so Khwarizm Empire or simply Khwarizm was a culturally Persianate Sunni Islamic empire of again Turkic origin. So this was also Turks, Khwarizm also. So again, so what was the thing that we came across? After the decline of Abbasid Empire, various Turks became powerful. They started to craft their kingdoms. Out of these Turks emerged the Samanids. Out of these Turks emerged the Ghaznavids, the Ghurids, and also the Khwarizm. All these were the Turkic founded empires. So as these two empires, Ghurids and the Khwarizm, was simultaneously rising, this was very powerful. It's difficult to directly deal with it. So hence the attention moved towards India. Because we know at the time India was divided into various small kingdoms. Mostly Rajput kingdoms, small kingdoms, easy to capture.
Sir, this empire of Khwarizmi, sir, they were already, Ghurs were already ruling in that area. So, but the map, it is also included in the empire of Khwarizmi.
So it is what 1215. So when we talk about the Muhammad Ghori started to rule in around 11 what maybe 90 sorry 80 or onwards, yes, 1180 onwards. So by this time they were also expanding. So hence, in order to look towards the western part, it's difficult to push the Khwarizm, which were expanding towards the east, towards the Afghanistan. It is easier to control the divided part of the India, which is mostly among the Rajput kingdoms. So if you ask Muhammad Ghori, if he were even alive today, his first attention was only the western part. If the Khwarizm was not there, so he will be looking towards capturing this entire area. But as he was not able to, he shifted towards the eastern part. So he carried out a number of invasions to establish his rule over India. Now, what is the major difference here? Now, he was forced because of the Khwarizm Empire, but he was in the intention of creating an empire. So he carried out a number of invasions to establish his rule over India. Unlike Mahmud of Ghazni, who was more interested in just wealth. Hence, Muhammad Ghori's political achievement in India were greater than Mahmud, because Mahmud was not politically inclined in India. However, Mahmud of Ghazni was more successful warrior because he was never defeated. But Muhammad Ghori was first defeated in the Battle of Tarain by Prithviraj Chauhan. So in comparing Ghori with the Ghazni, so Ghazni was a better warrior. But when I talk about political ambitions, Ghori had got political ambitions, Mahmud Ghazni did not have. Very clear. I hope till now it's very clear. So on this note, let us conclude. We'll start Muhammad Ghori tomorrow.
How many invasions did he do?
Muhammad Ghori hardly what 4 or 5 invasions. Muhammad Ghori.
It is written he carried out a number of invasions, so that is 4 to 5.
So 4 and 5. Yes, 4 and 5. Not
After that, it was all politically.
so all politically controlled. So I hope the entire Islamic history is very clear. How those Islam emerged pre-Islamic world. Now the empires which took shape after the Prophet Muhammad, the Caliphites, okay, all those and various Turkic kingdoms which emerged, and how from where the Ghaznavids and Ghori emerged. So now everything is connected. So what we came to know, that means, so jizya imposed in India was not a new thing. It was already there. Promotion, or maybe even when we talk about beginning of the Islam in Arabia, also sidelining the polytheism and sidelining what idols. Okay. Similarly, the same type of zeal brought by the Islamic conquerors in India, they were also acting against the ideals in India also. What they have done in their own territory, the same was carried forward in India also. It was not a specific Hindu against policy. Okay, so that means you have to understand this in a larger context. So I hope you liked the class today. Yes, Islam.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay,
This is
so
the first time that you have covered in the detailed form, because generally teachers try to skip this portion altogether.
so teachers skip all these portions, but I try to include this in our understanding, and they should be told as much as possible, yes, to the people, so that people have to come out from various WhatsApp university knowledge. Okay, so let's resume the class with Muhammad Gauri tomorrow. Thank you.
And
Thank
role
you.
of Hassan and Hussein was there in Shia and Sunni. Like some people say that sons of Prophet Hassan and Hussein, they got divided. Like
Great to see. So, but when you talk about the first major division, was on the basis of what the consensus-based leaders and the Hazrat Ali, the first leader.
okay, got it.
Okay, the first major.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all of you.